Hi, this is Mark from LongIslandWatch.com, and today I've got a new release from Damasko, but I'm fairly certain that I'm the first person, I think, on YouTube to review the movement that's inside. It is Damasko's new A26 caliber movement. It's in the new DK30 and 32 series watches. I will review the watches, but also talk about the movement. So I'm going to kind of break the video up into kind of two parts. In the beginning, for those people that just want to see watches, I will show you the watches. And then afterwards, I'll get more into talking about the movements themselves. Not really watch and learn, but it's going to be like watch and learn. I'm wearing my spring drive. Ta-da! So wicked. If you don't follow me on Instagram, at least check it out. I posted a reels, which is like their mini videos. I'm kind of learning stuff as I go along. Of a spring drive cold start. It's so cool because the seconds hand goes really quick for a couple of seconds before the spring drive itself actually kicks in. And another piece that I did a video on just recently. That Concord Mariner SG with the 9 quarts on the dial. Somebody from in the video did do a little bit of research and told me that 9 quarts or 9 has to do with the size of the movement. For the uninitiated, movements are measured in lines. It is I believe it's a French term, Ligne. It's denoted by 3 apostrophes, like inches would be 2, lines are 3. So a 9-line movement is roughly 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So I'm going to go with that answer. It seems pretty good. Anyway, let's check out these Damasko watches. I'm going to break the video up pretty much into two parts. Right now I'm going to talk about the watches. I'm going to make it fast. I really want to talk about the movements because that's where a lot of the interesting stuff happens, and that's where I can teach you something, hopefully, and educate everybody about Damasko's new movements. So I have 4 new DK watches here. One of these is an Imposter DS30. I'm actually not sure which one it is. It has to be this one. So this is an original DS30. These came out, a few years ago. 39 millimeter, just shy of 10 millimeters thick, about 9.95 thick, 48 tip to tip. Runs about $1,000. Comes in a bunch of different colors, in the blue dial, black dial, and then all sorts of variations on this. Submarine steel, surface hardened, not as scratch resistant as their nitrogen ice hardened steel, but still fairly scratch resistant. A nice entry level Damasko, and really nice. It's a good size. Runs on the ETA 2824. So I'm gonna stop there and now introduce you to DS30, introduce you to DK30 and DK32. Okay. I will say really quickly that bracelets for the DS30 we just got in now. You'll see them on the website. Maybe I'll do a separate video on them. So for those of you looking for a bracelet for your DS30, I have them, and they will fit the DK30 watches as well. Okay, so you have 4 models. You have DK30, which is without a date, so it's just 3 hands. If you guys want to see them run, we'll let them run. You have DK32, which is with a date. Only difference. You have DK30 Ocean, which is that blue dial. No date. And then DK32 Ocean, blue dial, date. Very, very simple. I do want to just show you really quick between the DS30 and the DK32. They are pretty much identical watches, and that is kind of the whole idea. And again, that's what we'll get into in a little bit. But I will just really quickly discuss the watch. So, like the DS30, the DK30 and 32, again, the only difference being the date. It's 39 millimeters in diameter, just shy of 10 thick, 48 tip to tip, 20 millimeter lug width, flat AR sapphire. AR is on both sides of the crystal. Damasko simply makes reflections disappear. Water resistant to 200 meters. Major difference from the DS line is the use of an exhibition case back because they want to showcase their new A26 movement. This is not like buying an ETA and putting on a Damasko rotor. This movement is truly manufactured by Damasko. Okay, and we'll talk again. We'll talk about the movement much more in depth in a few minutes. Screw down crown, beautiful watch. Without date, they are about 1450, and with date about 1650. So this guy's about 1650. It's demanding a heavy premium over the ETA 2824 models. I think it's going to be a tough sell. And considering also they look identical, so this is going to be for someone that really wants true in-house manufacture in their watch, because otherwise it really is not different than the DS30. So I'll show you just the no date really quick. Much cleaner, obviously. So this is the one that's a little bit cheaper, 1450, because there's no date mechanism, but you still see the movement through the back. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. And then these are a little bit more simply because they're on a Hirsch Robbie strap, and the Robbie strap itself is pricey. So, but a few bucks more, and you get the 32 Ocean and the 32 and the 30 Ocean. Again, look at the dial. Look how beautiful it is. I own a DS30 Ocean, and I love it. Yes, these are all dead. They were not running. Has nothing to do with the watch itself. They came in like 3 days ago. They've been sitting in the boxes, and I did not get a chance to do anything with them yet. Let's see. Weight of the watch without the strap is 57 grams. Has all Damasko goodies, which most of it is in the movement, but also the crown sealing system, the gaskets they use, the gaskets on the case back, all much, much more superior and better materials than you normally would find on a run-of-the-mill watch. I think I covered, I'm just looking through my notes really quick, kind of covered everything that I wanted to talk about. So let's talk about movement. So what the heck is happening? Why is Damasko developing their own movement for a watch that's already made? There's a watch already made for an ETA 2824. Why develop your own movement? Well, you have to kind of have a good deal of history with wristwatches, which fortunately I do. I remember reading an article, early 2000s, the Swatch Group, who owns ETA, who owns, there's only a few big conglomerates that own all the watch companies, Richemont, LVMH, Swatch Group, etc. They were filing with the Swiss government because they wanted to discontinue selling the ETA 2824. Happen to have one here. Guys, don't worry, it is a total junk movement. They wanted to discontinue selling the ETA 2024 outside of the Swatch group, if you will, which is a lot of companies. But that would mean a company like Damasko wouldn't be able to get an ETA anymore. That has come and gone. Things have changed. Sellita basically is a product of that decision, because ETA was pretty much the only mass-produced Swiss movement out there. Eterna tried to do it. Some other companies tried to do it. But ETA was really the one that supplied all the movements. That decision, like I said, came and went. It changed. It didn't change. Swatch almost changed their decision with the economy. But when you're a company like Damasko, okay, and or you're any company, but they're a small company, you realize that your lifeblood depends on this damn company saying yes or no to selling you a movement, you probably start to get a little bit concerned. So Damasko started to develop their own movement, and the product of that is the A26 caliber. Damasko already makes a couple of calibers in A35, and you can see that on their website. They make some really, really beautiful movements and watches. But the A26 comes about because they want to separate themselves from ETA and try to make themselves independent. It's not easy, and as you can tell from the price increase from $970 for the DS30 to $1650 for a DK32, the only real difference is the movement. So Damasko set out on this mission, and I'll let you look at the movement while we talk. Damasko set out on this mission to either offer their customers, me and you, me as a vendor and you as a direct customer, continue to get the ETA 2824 movement, as long as we can, or let's get a new movement that we manufacture and we are the boss of, and try not to increase the price too much. I feel they increase the price a good deal, but again, this is not simple stuff when you go to manufacture your own movements. You can see the serial number. These are very low units. I just got them in. DK30 this is number 25. So what's the benefit? What do we get? Well, you get a movement that is form fit replaceable to the ETA 2824. Okay, so basically any watch that takes a 2824, their A26 will mount into. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense. Much in the way, I would never compare my Islander to a Damasko, but much in the way that when I did the base Islander to be compatible with all SKX parts, they kind of went to the same route. The movement fits in watches that accept a 2824. Many of the parts inside are replaceable with ETA 2824 parts, because if you go around the world, most watchmakers stock a chest full of parts for the 2824. So if they now get an A26 across their desk, they can very simply go in and get a fourth wheel, a third wheel, whatever it might be, for a 2824, and it will work in Damasko's movement. The A26. The A26 comes in two varieties, a -1 without date, a -2 with date. Okay. So what did Damasko do? Well, and I'll say it again, almost as a parallel to me with the Islander. I saw all the shortfalls of the SKX 007 and I went and improved upon them. Damasko did a very similar thing. They, being watchmakers since, I guess the early 90s or so, they've been in business. They know all the shortfalls of the ETA 2824. Having serviced them, having put them in their watches and then furthermore serviced them, they understand what breaks first. And I'll focus on two of those areas right now because they represent the biggest change. So, number one, maybe I'll use my little ETA. You really can't see much of it though. When you may have heard this, when you hand wind an ETA, the two main components that transmit your hand winding to the mainspring are brass, and they're interfacing with steel parts. So many ETAs, after a long time of hand winding, because many of us watch guys love to hand wind our watches every morning, right, to get it fully charged up, because watches run their most accurate when they're fully charged. It's a fact. Oh, the Damasko movement, she has the same power reserve, about 42 hours. Don't think I mentioned that. Anyway, so they swapped out those brass parts for hardened steel parts, so they're less likely to break down. Kind of a small change, just a material change, not much going on there. The biggest change that they made is in the winding system, because this is this part of the watch on ETAs that kind of breaks down the most. I will zoom in on this ETA. You guys may have experienced this. You go to, I know someone's going to say they have. You go to wind your ETA in a flat plane and the rotor spins like a turbine. 1,000 RPM goes zzz and starts spinning really fast. That is generally a function of these two brass reverser gears. There's usually something going on with them, and those reverser gears act to keep winding the movement whether you go this way or that way with your rotor. Okay, and you notice that the rotor, as usual, is on steel ball bearings. Well, Damasko said, we've serviced enough of these auto winders. We're going to change the entire auto winding system, and they did. 25 joules, by the way, for the ETA 2824, of course. The Damasko movement is a 20 joule movement, so they've dropped 5 joules. I believe 4 of them are dropped. Excuse me, all 5 of them, I believe, are dropped in the auto winder. Because the reverser gears each have 2. That brings it to 21, and I think there's another one under here. Not a watchmaker, but I know enough to be dangerous. So I will now implement pointy stick thingy. What Damasko has done, they've basically replaced the entire auto winder with more of like Seiko's system, the magic lever. And if you look here, you can see the pole. See, this is one leg of the pole right here. And this is the other leg sitting out right here, okay? And on this gear, this silver gear, are lots of little teeth. This pole comes together under the movement. I'll try to throw up, well, I'm not going to try to throw up. I'm going to try to incorporate some CAD animations that Damasko was kind enough to send me. What happens when the rotor spins, Okay, the rotor is actually mounted on, there's two bearings. This big bearing here, this is a circular bearing with ceramic balls. Ceramic balls don't require any lubrication, so much longer life piece. But then in the center, not attached to the rotor, but mounted in this bearing, is an eccentric bearing, meaning this bearing here, this little one around this little blue screw, by the way, all true blue screws, is just a tiny bit off center, so that when it rotates, it acts like a cam, and that cam pushes and pulls this pole, which acts to rotate the auto winding gear. You're not going to be able to see it, so like I said, I'll try to put up an animation that makes it work, but it is bidirectional winding. So what they've done is basically eliminate these two reverser gears and also eliminate steel balls. So now it's all ceramic ball bearings. And it's a much more efficient winding system and less likely to break on you. It's nearly ingenious. Granted, it takes some of Seiko's technology, but, it actually improves upon it a great deal, because Seiko's does break as well, as most watchmakers know. I want to show you around some other things. I'll show you, they didn't really just copy the movement outright. See the A26 see the balance cock? This is the, This is the balance cock. Where's my pointy? There it is. This is the balance cock. The balance hangs off of it. They've gone with a totally different bridge here. And not only that, they finished it super nice. So you see it's go straight across now. The finishing is really nice. You know, obviously the jewels look good, nice and red, like in any movement, but just beautiful. Beautifully done, beautifully finished. And like I said, the name Damasko on the rotor, it's not just an ETA with a Damasko rotor, it is Damasko's own movement. So bravo to them for trying to get a little more independent in the world of watchmaking. You know, this movement here has been around for many, many, many decades. It's tried and true. It is proven. You really, I guess if you're going to start from scratch and make a new watch movement, most watchmakers would probably come up with very close to the same exact thing. I guess I didn't mention, I probably should, it has the same beat rate as the ETA, 20,800 beats per hour, 8 ticks per second. I guess I also did not do my usual loom and wrist shot, so I guess I'll do the loom and the wrist shot really quick and then we'll finish up the video. Glows ridiculous. I don't really need to do anything else. It looks amazing. And then here you go, 39 millimeters on my 6 3/4 inch wrist, above, below, doesn't matter. The watch is a dream, super nice, super light. Again, it's the quintessential everyday watch. It's really awesome. So let's see, I think I covered everything. I mean, the little stuff that you can read up on our website are theirs. It's shockproof, it's anti-magnetic, the 42-hour power reserve I spoke about. There's just a lot of good stuff going on, and they really, they really did an excellent job with the movement. And I would think that through mass production, they should be able to get the price down, although I don't know how much of it is labor and how much of it is parts. But bravo to them for doing patenting, different things and ideas and trying to get yourself to be somewhat autonomous. I think that's about it. This has been Mark from LongOnWatch.com. A little lengthy video, I apologize, showing you the new DK30 and 32 watches. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Questions or comments, put them down below, and I will address them as soon as I can. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.